Welcome back everyone. In the last video, we had started discussing the concept of externality in context of the Coase theorem. Going ahead, we are going to discuss few more relevant concepts. The first one is negative consumption externality. When an individual's consumption reduces the well-being of others who are not compensated by the individual, then that scenario is going to be termed as a negative consumption externality. Associated with this is the concept of private marginal cost, a direct benefit to consumers of consuming an additional unit of a good by the consumer. As was the case in the negative production externality, in the negative consumption externality also we have a social marginal cost involved. However, this social marginal cost is written as or is abbreviated as SMB. Now, what is SMB? The private marginal benefit to consumers plus any cost associated with the consumption of the good that are imposed on others. For example, using a car and emitting carbon contributing to global warming. Let's take an example of a car that a typical driver, let's say, to drive today in that weighs around 2000 kgs, and it's an SUV. So the major culprits in the evolution of car size is the sport utility vehicles or SUVs, having an average weight size of 2000 kg. Now, the consumption of such large cars produces three types of negative externalities. The first externality is the environmental externality. The contribution of driving to global warming is directly proportional to the amount of fossil fuel a vehicle requires to travel. Now, SUV drivers use more fuel to go to work, to run their errands, and increases the fossil fuel emission. The second type of externality is negative externality is the wear and tear on roads. So each year, national, state, and local governments spend millions in repairing our roadways. Damage to roadways comes from many sources, but a major culprit is the passenger vehicle, and the damage it does to the roads is proportional to the weight of the vehicle. Third externality is safety externality. So one major appeal of SUVs is that they provide a feeling of security because they are so much larger than other cars on the road. Offsetting this feeling of security is the added insecurity imposed on other cars on the road. So it is not about the security that is being felt by the SUV driver, but about the insecurity that is being felt by others. So in this case, I hope through this example we can understand the concept of negative consumption externality, where an individual's consumption, so an SUV driver's consumption or driving the SUV is reducing the well-being of others. Now, well-being of others was being affected, and those others are not being compensated also. And we had discussed these three externality: environmental, wear and tear, and safety externalities. So in all these three scenarios, maybe the driver of the SUV is being benefited by using the SUV, but of course there are certain implications of that. Next set of concept is positive externality. So it is not that externalities are always negative. There are certain positive externalities also. From the production perspective, when a firm's production increases the well-being of others, but the firm is not compensated by them, that is an example of that. For example, a beehive being located in an area around you. So beehives of honey producer have a positive impact on pollination and agricultural output, but those farmers are not going to pay or are not going to compensate to the owner or the one who is maintaining the beehive. So this is another form of externality, which is termed as positive production externality. The second is a positive consumption externality, when an individual's consumption increases the well-being of others, but again the individual is not compensated by others. So what is happening, and another example that has been mentioned here is that how beautiful private gardens that passes by are enjoying by seeing. So they're not paying a fee for it, they're enjoying it. And who's maintaining it? The person who owns that particular private garden.